Hey guys, welcome back to Cignals Trading Academy. This is lesson number 5, and today we're going to discuss volume profile. And it's a big portion of how I trade. Anybody who's been following along for a while knows this. I make most of my decisions exclusively based on profile symmetry and skewness, which we're going to go over in today's lesson. All right. But before we hop into anything about skewness, I wanted just to talk about areas of the profile and some jargon that you may hear us talk about that maybe you don't know what it means. So with that being said, let's hop right into it. And I wanted to show you, okay, up here and down here, okay, these are the limits of the profile. So what we have up here is a profile high, right? Profile high. Down here is our profile low, okay? And now we're going to draw another line here and here. This is our value area high, right? Because this is the value area, the non-shaded parts, or 70% of where all trading occurs is inside this area, okay? And it's called the value area. So this is the value area. Above it, at the upper bounds and the lower bounds, are the value area highs, and of course the value area low, okay? And what we see here is something called an LVN. LVN is a low volume node. What is a low volume node? Is an area of the profile that has been rejected. There's little volume there. It's likely that as price was trending in that direction, it was just gapped through by larger size, machine traders, whatever. It just wasn't an accepted price, and it was rejected. And it's likely that if you were able to catch that, let's say that level, you always kind of want to be entering into these areas because they haven't been commonly accepted yet, right? Like an HVN, for example, on the other side of this, the flip side of this, somewhere like right here, HVN, high volume node, is an area of the profile that's been commonly accepted. And the most commonly accepted price is your point of control, right? Your POC, point of control. And the value area is basically 70% of the trading area around the POC, right? That high volume node. And usually there are other high volume nodes in the area. And as you get to the profile highs and lows, you start to see these LVNs. They're less commonly accepted prices, rejected prices. And you want to be entering into those. You want to enter on the long side into an area like right here, and try to play that rebound, off the LVN into HVNs, like a POC. You want to enter into LVNs, value area low, if you can, profile lows, and exit into higher volume, because these prices have been rejected. They haven't been accepted widely yet. And when they are widely accepted, there really is no value. So that's something that I want you guys to consciously keep on top of, is all of this. It's not that complicated. You got your profile high, your profile low, your value area low and high. The actual value area itself is inside of the shaded the non-shaded region, like the 70% around the POC, right? Point of control. 70% around that is the value area. And you usually, when you see the POC, you get other high volume nodes or HVNs. And ultimately, once you get around to the profile, or excuse me, the value area highs and lows and outside of the actual value area itself, you see these LVN clusters. You may even see LVN clusters inside the value area. If you noticed here, was a good short, right? You started to see LVNs act as entries for shorts to essentially, establish themselves and get in. So realistically, when you see stuff like that, that's what we're talking about when we talk about all of this jargon, is the construction of an actual profile and how you trade it. And that's the most basic way I can go about explaining this. So if you want, take a screenshot or maybe write that down so you have a little cheat sheet. You can always go to the glossary as well, and a lot of this is explained on there, but this is the most basic way to explain the construction of an actual profile, right? So now moving on, we know that the construction of a profile. So now what is skewness? What does skewness mean? When you talk about the skewness of a profile, you're talking about which way is it setting up. Is it a bullish or a bearish profile? And some of you that have been following along for a while may already have heard this from me, that there are three types of profiles. You have a P shape, a B shape, and a D shape. And these are the three basic profile setups that determine skewness. And we can determine skewness by basically knowing that a P-shaped profile represents a bullish skew, right? Bull. A B-shaped profile represents a bearish skew, bear. And a D-shaped profile represents a balanced profile, balance, right? So you may want to write that down as well, add it to your cheat sheet because it's very important, right? P, capital P, bullish. Lowercase b, bearish. Capital D, balanced profile. All right. There are other types of profiles where you get double and triple distributions, multiple POCs, and we'll go over that in a separate profile video because this is just an intro. The whole purpose of this is to teach you about skewness and to teach you about the areas of the profile, to teach you how to trade. So we know now the construction of a profile, the three types of skewness and what they mean, and where you want to be entering and exiting trades, right? So we spoke about all of that. So how do we determine skewness just looking at a profile? Right now, this profile has an upper and a lower area where there's deeper value outside of the value area. These are the areas of the profile when it has two tails, you're getting that balance because eventually it's going to create that D shape. It's already working on it. So we're trending down right now after trending up for a while. And, we're starting to balance out. If you notice, most of the trading is taking place in this area and this area. And then you have NPOCs here and here, naked points of control, which we went over in a previous video. So go back and look at that video so we don't have to waste time explaining that as well. And now that we know what all of this means, just looking at it, the way to determine skewness with that, if you don't have an eye for it, you take if you don't have like one of these pens, we're going to add something like this to Cignals soon, but let's say you don't have one of these like pens that you can like kind of just draw on your screen with. You can even do it with your finger and kind of just like go directly halfway through the profile like this and see if the majority of the trading is happening up here or if the majority of the trading is happening down here. And right now, the majority of the trading is happening in the middle of the profile for the most part on the 2-hour Bitfinex BTC USD pair and cluster. So we can see that majority of volume is in the middle and not at the lower or upper tails of the profile, which means that we're in the process of balancing out. You would expect to see this fill out a little bit more, this fill out a little bit more, which I'm sure it will over time. So this profile is balanced for the most part. It's not really skewed one way or another. Lower time frame, obviously, the higher up or the lower you go on time frames, it'll change the skewness of the profile depending on your tick size, depending on what time frame you're on, and all that good stuff. But for now, we're on a 2-hour cluster delta chart with $100 ticks, I believe. So this is kind of, even though we're trending down to about 43K, it's balanced for the most part. It's balancing itself out from these previous moves, from going down, back up, sideways to up, back down. More or less, all of the trading is happening in the 70% area of the profile. Okay, so we know that this is balanced. Now, if we saw, let's say we drew the line through and all of the trading was happening up here, and then we had like kind of a tail like this, we would expect the market to move higher at some point, which, if you, like I said, you start changing time frames, eventually you'll see that skewness play out over time. The profile shift shape, or kind of change with market conditions based on how people are trading. And if you notice right here, we tapped the lower area, the lower part of the value area, and outside of value, and we started to get an upward movement because, like I said, you always want to be entering into low volume nodes. And if I had to guess, we might run into some trouble in this area once we get back inside the value area. You see the sellers are stepping in, kind of defending the line, and that's to be expected. And for me, I like buying these parts of the profile where price is moving down. We hit deep value. You see all the bids are in deep value. You see what I'm saying? Like, nobody wants to really be buying at POC where everybody's kind of like, everybody's changing hands at that price, so there's no value there. That's the most commonly accepted price. So you notice the bids are stacking outside of this value area, and they're trying to catch these LVNs as price is moving into them. And then you have sellers defending the line between outside of the value area, representing deeper value, trying to push lower and tap this liquidity. They tap that liquidity and they're able to push lower, then it will obviously, we'll be able to clear out all of these bids accumulating and try to tap 42K or support in that area around about 41 and a half. Yeah, and you'll start to see here it was just a highly negative cluster, or excuse me, delta bar right here. It was just flashing green. Now it's neutral. So clearly we're in the process of getting some people buying dips here in the LVN part of this profile tail, and you see bids stacking. Is the pressure on the bids right now? Of course, they're going to keep putting pressure on them and try to smash them as far as they can to break through support. But if I was a betting man, I'd imagine we get some type of dip buying in the area, which we are. We start to get that neutral delta flipped back green. And then, like I said, we push higher into POC possibly, or somewhere in this HVN portion of the profile. And that's the real basic long and short of it. It doesn't have to be so complicated. This is exactly what I do to go through hypos and decision-making processes and whatnot. So yeah, that's the intro of all of this. I hope you guys found this useful, and we will go over more with volume profile in subsequent videos. But realistically, this is real simple stuff. It's not something that has to be overly complicated, or something that's got to really drive you nuts. And we went over it being, if this was all the volume was up here, and the same goes for the flip side before we go, right? If all the volume was down here, we would expect price to continue to push down, right? So realistically, that's exactly what I use to trade. I don't do anything fancy. I look at NPOC and UFA support and resistance. As you can see, there was a UFA here. It broke through it. A lot of bids came in at the, in this deeper part of the tail, outside the value area where deep value is represented. We got some LVN buyers, and we're subsequently pushing back up. So, I would imagine that here where there's neutral delta, eventually this will flip green, and we will have pushed back into the mid 43.5, maybe a little higher, try to hit NPOC even, or even up here and retest highs, and ultimately, in my opinion, run towards 47K. So, that's really, again, the intro of it, how you go about looking at skewness, how you go about looking at symmetry, how you go about deconstructing the profile so you know where you are at any time price opportunity, and ultimately how on the fly, just looking at a profile, you can make decisions about where you're going to trade and where you're going to exit your trades and place stops and whatnot. So make sure you like and subscribe, please. I know I say this every time. I don't want to be annoying, but it really helps us a lot. We're doing it for free. We want to help you guys. So if you could help us, that'd be great. Like, subscribe, and share this video. If you find it useful, share it with your friends who may be aspiring traders. If you have any questions, all of our links to relevant material is in the comments below. Make sure you hop into our Discord. That's where we're most active, and we talk a bunch about all different types of topics. Myself, our co-founder and CTO is in there. We try to take as many questions as possible. Our moderators, and of course our paying OGs, they help out as well. They'll gladly take a lot of your questions as well and answer them. We've seen it time and time again. Our community is great. So make sure you join our Discord. You follow us on Twitter. Like, subscribe, share this video if you found it useful. And we'll be back soon with some more content for you guys for Signals Trading Academy. Have a great day, guys.